How many times? Someone put a counter. How many times? Number 11.
You look stressed.
This could be top.
Well, hey, this
Could
could
be top
this
5.
could be one of the most either aged very well or revisionist history shoes.
Why? What's up, everybody? It's Joe La Puma. You were watching the Complex Sneaker Show. As always, I'm joined by my two co-hosts. First off, to my right, Mr. Matt Welty.
Early day for us, but we're here.
You've been in the office for how long? 10 hours already?
Yeah.
Really early day. What time
office?
did you get to the office?
So we did a special one-off, right? Live Complex Sneaker Show, right? For good friends in Australia.
Right, the people listening and watching this will never be able to see,
Yes.
so it's not totally relevant for them.
But we were here at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Time
You
difference.
were here at 6 o'clock.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
we
forgot.
did it from
I
home.
was
Me
home,
and Mr. Brendan
Left
Dunne.
the laptop charger.
Right, the laptop charger is like a thing in your life. I feel like it's like a 5-year running gag now. Something going on with your laptop charger.
It's like your Achilles heel a little bit.
a little bit.
You know?
Ever since they changed it and they don't have the white cord anymore,
That's what it is.
I can't physically see it, and then it blends in.
But yeah,
I'm being serious.
It's good to know because
Yeah.
we got a lot to get to today.
yeah.
We have a list that we've been waiting for a while.
Yeah, SB Dunks list. I'm getting back from some travels. I want feedback on my footwear selections for that, and also I just want to celebrate some sneaker collectors. Celebrate the real
Yes.
love, the real passion for footwear. Isn't that why we're here?
Yes.
We're talking about Team Jordans for once. Are they cool now?
Gonna get to all that and more. Early day in the office for sure. I thought maybe you slept here, but
No.
yeah, we're here and we're trucking through, right? You
Yeah.
guys have another
Yeah,
busy.
just waiting for my
Yep.
intro.
I said it.
You
I
did?
said it.
You
Yeah, pay
introed
attention.
me?
Yeah, pay attention. I said it to my left, Brendan Dunne. I said it though. Yeah, you'll see in the edit, but pay attention. I know it's early, but come on.
Okay, we'll sharpen the swords.
Yes, listen, you get a pass because we've been working for a lot of hours already. But
Not that we mind that.
you guys, you know, I go home, I'm gonna rest a little, catch up on sleep. You guys are not.
Right. By the
Global.
time this episode airs, Welty and I will be in Manila. Hopefully, we'll be meeting with the global fans, the members of the FS Army, the Complex Sneaker Show
Yes.
stands, the lovers, the haters out there in the Philippines.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Crazy, once in a lifetime, I guess, opportunity. It's funny because they had hit me up, and it's celebrating the 50th anniversary of Foot Locker, and they had originally reached out to me because they go, "We know you worked at Foot Locker back in the day." So
Did they hear your stories though?
Hey,
Okay.
hey.
Got through the screening process, but okay.
Hey, got there. That's all that
I'm
matters.
not snitching. No.
Not this
But
time.
hey, they said, "Hey, we want you to come out here because you worked at Foot Locker," and asked if I could bring a friend.
Wow, +1.
Yeah, thank you.
Plus
thank
one
you.
status.
Thank you for that. Not
And I-
unlike,
and I know- and
not
I
unlike
already
me
knew-
bringing you
they'd asked-
along
they'd
for that
asked if
Foot
you
Locker
want-
call this morning in
they-
Australia.
They had asked if you wanted to come,
Yeah.
and I know that Joe doesn't travel, so
Yeah, I never travel.
Takes a PJ to get him
I
there.
never travel, but you guys go. Represent the brand well.
We'll
okay?
do our absolute best. I'm
Yeah.
also coming off some travel. I was in Portland for a while.
Yes.
Had a good time out there, bopping around Beaverton,
The sneaker Illuminati.
doing everything. You know what? It was a really good time. So I'm there all the time, and I talk about it probably too much, but I like being there because I could do some family stuff, see college friends, but also see industry people. And in this particular weekend, the Sneaker Preservation Society were in town in Portland, and it was such a refreshing moment of being around people who genuinely
Yes.
love sneakers.
Yes.
I feel like so many of the people who try and steer the conversation around shoes on social media are obsessed with backdoor conspiracies or just trying to get retweets. And in all that, we've really lost some of the voices of people who are genuine collectors, people who studied shoes, people who can tell you the minute differences of pairs that came out from decades ago, people who spent a long time trying to find stuff and track stuff down and researching all stuff. What happened to those voices? So I was happy to be around those people, just genuine sneaker nerds, and I say that in the most loving way. Tom from ISS,
Shouts to Tom. I wish I could have made it.
Don Kick Sigma, Connecticut alum, Seth, Abdul was there,
Of course.
James
Retro
Watson, Retro Kid, Alex
Wow.
Lane. Come on, these are the people who I want to hear about sneakers from.
Retro Kid, I saw the clip unboxing.
Yep.
He brought the stuff out of storage. I want to ask, what were the shoes that you were most impressed that were in that little meeting?
Of all the stuff on the
Yes.
table there was a weird somebody. I'm gonna put there's a lot of stuff. Wow,
Any
I'm
Zoom citizens
I'm
show up?
overwhelmed. I don't quite remember. Tinker Hatfield did show up 20 minutes after I left. I don't know if that was by design or not. Taki from Bed-Stuy, happy to see him. Again, I don't want to just list a bunch of names,
any
but I kind of
shoes?
do.
I would love to see.
There was a
some,
weird
deep
like
cuts.
Metacom like flight posit type thing. I think I have a photo, and one of the guys who was there at the meetup, please let me know what these were. Yeah, just a bunch of we'll put photos in here and video, just old school Nikes. Nick DiPaolo was in the building, sample stuff you've never seen. Yeah, it was a refreshing moment for me, especially in Beaverton.
Yeah, it looked really great. It looked like it gets thrown around for the culture, but it did look like
Yes,
for the culture.
Shout out to Tom.
You were on your best behavior though, in close proximity. Let's talk about
I
it.
signed an NDA.
Okay.
I signed an
Okay.
NDA there on campus.
No wonder I didn't hear that much about him. He's NDA'd up, baby.
Absolutely. Wilson Smith popped out for a tour. Iconic designer. Yeah, just so many great times.
Air Up Tempo. Fan.
Yeah, designer of the Air Up Tempo, Air More Up Tempo. And I did get a little criticism though on the feedback from the trip. Avid listener of this show, Sarah Honda.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Jake Pulver.
Jake and Dylan Pulver can't say shit about me.
Oh, they were there.
No,
Right?
only kind words. I did see them.
Okay. Sarah Honda, shouts to her.
Yep.
Sarah
Careful,
said I was
though.
doing the TNs too
Careful.
much. I would never disrespect Sarah
Okay,
Honda. She
just-
disrespected me.
Okay,
Look,
just be
I was in
careful.
Oregon for 10 days. I had a rotation of footwear. I had 4 pairs of shoes, loafers, etc. I had 2 pairs for Hood to Coast, the race we did.
How'd you do? 47th.
We killed it.
First?
Not quite.
Okay.
I had 4 pairs of shoes. For a 10-day trip, that's a good amount of shoes, right?
That's a
How
lot.
many?
4. 1 to race in for the race.
3 others.
1 to run in just to kick around for training. The Louis loafers at the weddings. I know you saw those. And then the TNs. And Sarah was getting on me like I was wearing the TNs too much and are posting the TNs. Do I have to retire the TNs already?
No.
Welty, am I
what, the
spamming with the
orange
TNs? Yeah, the Sunset TNs.
You have I think you're #1 propagator of the TN agenda, but
So should I cool it on the TNs?
you can wear whatever you want.
Thank you. No, thank you, Sarah Honda.
No, those are going to pop, even if you get a little of that Portland, I don't want to say
Sediment.
dust.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get a little Portland culture on those. That's okay. That's
Thank
okay.
you for that,
I
Joe.
love Sarah Honda, though. I'm with her. Because you know why I'm with her? Anything that she says, I'm always going to take her side. Unconditional love. You heard it.
I mean, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I feel that way for sure.
One of the most random things in sneaker culture that has happened this
Okay.
week is that there's excitement around Team Jordans.
I don't know this.
There's the Who Decides War.
Yes, the
Jordan
collab.
Jordan Full Court.
Yeah.
And there's also, I mean, we had it on the show as well. There's also the Nigel Jordan 4RM.
You would consider those Team Jordans? Is that fair?
I mean, Team Jordan is a loose term. I know what you're using. It's what it is.
non.
Retros?
Yes,
I don't know. I would
non-
say new models because Team Jordan
but it's
to
still
me.
it's a Team Jordan.
Well, Team Jordan
I'm not.
to me.
I'm not. I know it's
Ooh,
kind
if
of
we're
like
getting into
a,
semantics. I'm gonna rub my hand and dig.
Team
dig
Jordan
in.
to me reminds me of these will be worn on court by
Mellow.
the Jordan team.
CP3.
No, I don't
Okay.
think that that's
I
what
could
Team
be
Jordan
wrong.
means at all. I think that's what Team Jordan originally meant when it was formed. I think Team Jordan means these are the Jordans that are at Foot Locker on the shelves that aren't.
You agree?
Look, I agree with both of you. My approach to linguistics is always going to be descriptive, not prescriptive. So, however people want to use these terms, and if it's widening in the meaning, then I'll go with wealthy.
Wow.
Yes, but I understand what you mean.
I think that means something to like maybe old heads that like.
Joe looks directly
but
to
people
camera.
because I feel like a lot of people don't remember. Oh, in 1999, who was wearing what?
Eddie Jones.
Yeah.
I was there. Were
Certified
you?
old head.
Yes.
I wasn't
Wait,
there.
let's check Eddie Jones.
I wasn't there.
Okay, definitely. Eddie Jones had a lot of
And
PEs.
everybody
but
at
I remember
the Sneaker
Team.
Preservation Society, they
But-
remember Eddie Jones.
With that said, you know, a lot of people think of Team Jordans as like a shoe, like a Jordan Flight 45 or, you know.
True Flights.
Yeah.
Yes, like Jordans that aren't Jordans,
The
right?
Vin
Yeah.
Baker ones were my favorite ones.
But not talking about that era of Team Jordan. I mean,
You think we're in a new era?
of Team Jordan where it's like the
Legitimate excitement around non-retro models?
the ones that you'd go into Champ Sports and just kind of see there, you know, where it's like people, I guess it kind of the joke working at Foot Locker back in the day would be like, if you didn't really know what was up with sneakers, you'd walk into Foot Locker, or your mom or girlfriend would be like, hey, I got you the Jordans, and then comes home and it's like a shoe that looks like a Jordan 4, but it's not a Jordan 4.
Right. It's the wrong shoe.
Listen.
But
What?
hold on.
Okay,
But
I got something, but go
what
ahead.
I'm trying to say is that it's just interesting that like there's models that like the Who Decides War collaboration that there seems to be genuine excitement around. The shoe does look pretty good. But
You're
if
into those.
They look pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know if that like that shoe's for me per se, but it looks pretty good.
Would you say the Nigel 4RM is that for you? I feel like you could.
I
wear
like that.
sneaker.
I
Yeah.
like that shoe a little bit more. But it's just interesting to see models like that. That if you took away the collaborator on them and only introduced them as the models themselves, I don't think they'd hold the same space.
Always the tough part.
99 though. What did Hove say? Probably sold your auntie. What did he say? Something like that.
Couple
1999.
grams.
Yeah, that was the line,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Listen, 1999 finish line store 395 Bayshore. You know how many Jumpman Vindicants I was moving?
Yeah.
You remember those?
No, I'm not gonna front.
Okay, we'll put the. I was
You've been
moving
vindicated.
Them.
Yeah.
I was moving them crazy. Vin Baker wore them. So Team Jordan.
But definitely sold way more
did
Team
your part.
Jordans. Sold more Team Jordans than retro.
At Foot Locker.
Yeah.
I told you how I had my friend buy the Mellow shoes to make the day, right? Did I tell you this
yeah,
story?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I'm sorry, I don't remember it. but
How do
I
we
know.
how do
We'll
we
cut it.
Sure, it was
feel
an impactful story.
Yeah, exactly.
how do we feel about non Jordans becoming like the cool Jordans now?
Look, if there's ever a world where more people are into more different sneakers and we diversify the things we like, that's a good world to me. I don't know how sustainable it is, and I don't know if, like I said, it's always a question if this collaboration energy will really stick with the model after the collaborators leave. I do think it'll linger around for a bit, but I don't think those are going to be the models that we talk about in 10 years. You know, I think maybe something like the Jordan Future. The Jordan Future didn't have a bunch of collabs on it, but it was hot for a bit. And now people look back on it and say, wasn't really the move. Although I think they were good for what they were.
I wore those
and
a
of their
bunch.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
wore those a
I
bunch.
wore them too. When
You
they,
did?
Yeah, when they first came
You wore
out.
Jordan
Okay.
Futures?
Yeah, I had a pair.
Do you have a picture?
I need a
somewhere
photo
on
of
my-
need
Matthew
that.
J. Welty and
Yeah,
Jordan
it's somewhere
Futures.
on Instagram. Just the black pair with
Oh,
the white sole.
Also,
gonna
Jock
search.
Slade recently went out on a limb to defend the Jordan Future and provide the proper context around that shoe. And I appreciated Jock for that because I think it was in response to a Nice Kicks meme about Jordan Futures or something. And he was like, let me set the record
Well,
straight.
people were excited at the time.
Yeah, it's always important. Again, some
It
of
was
the
a
people
Jordan
talking
11
about
that was, like,
sneakers on the internet
lifestyle.
weren't into them 5-10 years ago. We know that for sure.
I remember Ronnie wearing them like one of the first Mercer pants with Jordan Futures.
Come on.
Yeah.
I just think
Daniel
it's,
Nunez had a lot of Jordan Futures. I know it.
Did he?
I know it. Danny
Probably.
Nunez, yeah.
I just think it's interesting because if the sneaker world has gone into a space where it's like the obscure shoes are what's cool now, and
Do you think that's where we're at?
yeah,
Give
for,
me an
for
example.
other brands.
These?
Like what you're wearing.
They are,
now. Yeah,
yes,
or
yes.
A6 1130.
The shoes I have on my feet.
Yes.
etc. Like what I'm wearing right now.
That's not obscure.
No,
The Sauconys,
the
the J-tip
model,
Sauconys.
the model. This is an obscure model.
Okay.
You don't even know this shoe until now.
Pulling your card.
Different though.
No, this
little
is an,
different.
This is
I agree.
This is
I
an obscure shoe model.
I agree.
Yes,
I
yes,
looked at
you're
it. I looked at it. I agree. I just think it's unfair to compare what you guys got on. But okay.
I mean, because it's a cool collaboration, but it's just like these are equally as of like kind of obscure models in this like sneakerhead world.
Yeah,
Okay.
me wearing a random old ACG shoe. Just for the people who don't know, Welty, what do you have on feet?
The J-tip Saucony Omnigrids.
Right.
But
Great.
what I'm just saying is that if that's like where the brand, like the sandbox that brands are wanting to play in now, where it's like, hey, let's bring out the weird stuff, where it's like Sundermax, etc.
Yes.
Where Jordan brand is like the antithesis of that, of like weird shoes, because
Because they don't have any cool, weird, different shoes. They only have the retros. That's what you're saying?
I mean, I know they have like other stuff in the archive, like they have like Trunners and stuff, but Jordan is like the mainstream of sneaker culture.
Yeah, Trunners
right?
coming back, I think, by the way. Go on.
Who?
Trunners.
Oh, I
Yeah.
love those.
But
Bring
I'm just-
back the 3%.
I'm just saying, if Jordan's bread and butter is like the most mainstream that sneaker culture is. It's like, where do they all of a sudden
What are the
start?
weird models that
Yeah.
they can pull out?
Tougher ass though for Jordan.
That's what
For
I'm
sure,
saying.
for
So
sure.
it's like, so what are they? So in their mind, maybe what do they do? They maybe do a collaboration on a Team Jordan,
Yeah.
or give Nigel the 4RM, which is a new shoe, but it's like not a Jordan 4.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I do agree. What you didn't have me in the first half, but like the Sunders. That's a good example. That's a good example. He's right. Can we? You brazed over this, the 40-day challenge, 30-day challenge. What challenge is this?
Braised over.
Is braised the right? No, you glazed.
Ice bucket challenge.
No, hold on. Wait, braise? Wait,
The
braise?
sneakers I have on my feet
Yeah,
right now.
we're
Do we
leaving
want
it in.
I don't know why I'm
On my own
short of
dictionary.
breath. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, go ahead. What are they?
I don't even know fully what they are, but
Oh.
a few weeks back, or maybe a month back at this point, I had teased a strategy on this very podcast about trying to wear on here the weirdest possible random shoes I could find, going on eBay, spending my hard-earned money, tracking stuff down. And this is the first of those sneakers.
How much?
No, I think I spent around $100 for them.
What did you
Oh.
type into eBay to find them?
I was doing like vintage Nike, vintage hiking shoe, Nike hiking shoe, just the most generic things like that, and trying to scroll as far as I could. They came from the Ukraine. They made it here. So shout out to the people who, got me my shoes, despite the conditions, all conditions gear.
How many are you going to do?
I don't know.
I like them, man.
I have these on deck right now.
have
I
a
don't
question.
totally know. See, and this is the thing. I want to be in conversation with the audience here because I don't really know anything about the shoe. Everybody has it listed as like Nike ACG XCR because it says XCR in the shoe, but I don't know anything about the history of the design. If people can dig it up for us, please do.
Also, comment W if you like it, or trash emoji if you
Yeah,
don't like
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Did you give them a big whiff when you pulled them out of the box? or
Okay.
not?
I wanted to bring this up and let me know.
they
Can you
moldy?
smell them?
Yeah, I mean, I think
don't know.
natural. I think that. No, oh no, right now?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Were
I
they
am glad to hear
moldy,
that.
or-
Well, I'm a little self-conscious about it because I had the box there with all the, Cyrillic writing on it, and I opened it up. No actual Nike box, just they came, no box. And I did feel like there was an odor to them.
You get the Lalabo out? Just so
I have
know?
some antidote spray. These guys make a spray. I forget what flavor it was, fresh watermelon. But I really like the pills. I don't know. I used to have these little plastic pills you could stuff in the shoes to make them smell better.
Yep.
But I am worried about the smell. But
The ones you.
sounds like I'm combating it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let me ask you: did you not wear them because you're afraid of them collapsing, or did you try to surprise us? Because
I tried to
he walked in like he was going,
Joe's
like
getting
he
up out of his
listen,
seat.
like he had a little briefcase. He walked in. You're
I
not
did want
wrong.
it to be a
I
total
saw it.
surprise.
Yeah,
I
he
did
hid
want it to be a
from
total
us
surprise.
for the first. Like I
put
said,
these shoes on my feet at the last possible minute.
Yeah.
I was lacing them up at my desk, but trying to keep them low because I knew that if Matt Welty saw them, he would start asking questions and the cover would be blown at that point. But Welty, did I do okay with these? Again, I said
they're
when I
cool.
first set up the strategy that the worry was that I would just buy weird shoes
No,
and they
that's
wouldn't
cool.
look remotely good.
Those are
but
cool.
there's
I
a
like
couple.
it.
There's a couple more pairs on eBay
I don't
too.
know. I mean, I don't know anything about that shoe. But
Yes,
it
me
looks,
neither.
It looks familiar.
Yeah.
where-
not for me. I like them. I
Okay.
just want to know. And this is one of the things. Like oh man, new month, new me. I'm gonna get 10. I'm gonna get
No,
15.
I think-
Let's see how long it lasts.
It's not gonna last that
I
long.
think the true objective of this challenge isn't just how much of these you can wear.
Yeah.
I think the true objective of this challenge should be to see how many of these shoes in like 2 years' time
Will I still appreciate?
get randomly retro by brands.
Oh, so this is it. Like I pull
You're like
the
a
rare
litmus
shoes
test.
off of eBay or the obscure shoes rather off of eBay.
Throw it into the sneaker stratosphere and then
Yeah, put it out there in the ether, and then a couple years later, claim total credit
Welcome.
when some Beaverton bean counter.
Yeah, welcome.
if that
puts them in
shoe
the
gets
line.
retroed in 2 years, that is 100%.
Definitely.
What if I had already seen a catalog? No.
Oh.
I
What is
have
this?
no idea. I
What
have-
is this like?
no.
What's his name? Biff from Back to the Future.
Right.
You got the
Biff
book.
used to do the noogies.
The almanac,
You
right?
got the almanac. That's
No,
what I'm
I
saying.
have no advanced knowledge
That'd
of
be
this
real
shoe possibly
influence.
coming back, but maybe they see me stepping and they decide to act accordingly. Wouldn't be
You
The
guys
first
had a
time.
nice key about your shoes. If anyone wants to know, I'm wearing Neon Air Max 95s from 2020. Thank
but
you
is
for
that
asking.
you? Is that you foreshadowing the big bubble
No,
Air
no.
Max 95
No,
retro
it-
coming next year?
You guys just discussed yours and no one asked about it.
Sorry about that,
So
Joe.
we saw a look the other day, or like the first look at the upcoming Black Cement 3 Retro.
Yes. One pair.
Yeah.
Only one.
One pair.
Showing an incredible level of restraint this
One
year.
pair. Did not
2024.
Did not show restraint on the G Dragons. Paid triple.
You
Yes. To have them early.
3 times the retail price.
Yes.
Pay like
Just to
$600
be
for them.
on team early.
Yeah. And this is I'm not proud of it. I'm not proud of it, but
Yeah,
I wanted them. I
you're
wanted
being
them.
honest. We appreciate you.
I wanted them,
and
I
Joe La
love
Puma
those.
pays resale prices for shoes.
I
He's
love
not
those.
above that.
And I need another pair.
You need 2 pairs of the G Dragon Air
Yeah,
Force
hopefully
One?
one, hopefully one at retail.
Why do you only need one
Fingers
pair of the
crossed.
Black Cement 3s?
Because I have like 3.
Make that make sense.
I have-
one
no,
pair of
that's what
Black
I'm more
Cement
interested
3s,
in.
You know,
but
I
need
wore them
2
on the Spike Lee episode. They were NDS, okay? I probably have 2 or 3 back home.
crispy.
I might have some other ones somewhere in this building. I have a bunch of those. And like we always say, I don't wear those a lot. I did wear the Endless Summer 4s yesterday.
I did see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
So,
a big moment for everybody here.
We were
in the
briefly
office.
having this conversation before, and I think maybe it'd be good just to have it here.
Would love to.
Do you guys think that this year in general, that like Jordan collaborations, we're talking about Jordan wanting to do different shoes, Jordan collaborations or maybe just retro Jordans have maybe fallen a little flat or not been as big as you would think they would be?
You said that, and I didn't really have that feeling until you put it out there, and I could kind of see what you mean, but I don't know. I still feel like the remastered Black Cement 4s with the leather were a big deal.
They were, but I don't really see as
I
many people
do.
wear.
So I thought
I
about
see
that.
them an okay
I see
amount.
them a lot.
Okay, maybe
yeah,
I
I
don't.
remember you saying that, like you don't see them. I see those a lot. I also just think we've said it so many times. We're just like we're in a different phase.
Yeah.
We're in like we're getting older, and
Yeah.
like you know, a collab Jordan, even a collab Jordan, like you know, I still the G Dragons are interesting. Obviously, it's not a Jordan, but like I know I'm a little all over the place. The Atmos 991s.
V2.
I feel like I just see,
V2, I just like hunt, like I will, this is what I'm saying. I'm still hunting and I'm still trying to get, but I just haven't done that for Jordans in a while.
I feel like I just
And I
see-
think it's just because I'm just like maturing, or not
But
maturing.
it
I think I'm
says
just getting
something if they're
older
not
and my
exciting
style's
you,
changing a
if the
little.
Jordans
Yeah.
aren't exciting you that much right now.
But I'm
Yeah.
saying I just feel like I just see ASICs like 1130s so much more frequently than I do.
The customer who was going for the retro Jordan is now
Yeah.
going for a Y2K runner from
Yeah.
A6.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's totally believable to me. It lines up with that story I told about Foot Locker, no pun intended, lining up.
Yes.
And I mean,
People
I
standing
saw
outside.
someone, they were talking on Twitter the other day, it was just like a gray and black 1130 dropped on asics.com and like sold out like that.
Smoking.
Crazy.
That's a good thing to me. I said it before and I'll say it again. Can we talk about weird shoes a
Yeah.
little bit more?
Sure.
Because we are very nearly upon the release of the New Balance 1906L, the loafer.
Yep.
Oh, you love those.
I just want to put it out there. I am targeting that shoe. That's
You
a
love those.
must-have for me.
Paying triple?
No, but
Double? If you need?
I think I can get them at retail.
Okay.
I think I can make the right maneuver. There's been some interesting New Balance stuff floating around. The Cooper flag, New Balance signing.
Yeah.
Welty,
big.
you were excited about that.
Yep.
Yep.
Of course, we knew about it well beforehand, but got scooped. Laurel Piana charging $1,500 for a pair of New Balances.
Knew about that beforehand and couldn't talk about it.
15
on it?
hundo.
990 V6. I know that there are people who are willing to pay for
They look
Laurel
really
Piana
nice.
right now.
I'm not justifying the price tag on it. Like
Yeah.
I know what Laurel Piana is, and I know it's expensive.
Yeah.
And I think the shoe looks really great.
Yeah.
But that's still not me saying, hey, yeah, those shoes are worth $1,500.
$1,500 is a lot.
That's a lot.
And New Balance has
Would
kind
you
of
ever
been
do
here
it?
before.
No.
No, what Matt Welty would never
You
pay
know?
$1,500? No way.
Just as like the new, yeah.
I'm cheap. I'm okay with saying that.
For your ultimate SB Dunk Grail, you would.
No, I'm not spending $1,500 on sneakers no matter what.
If you could have any sneaker in the world for $1,500 and it was strictly to wear, obviously you can't flip it, you wouldn't spend $1,500?
No.
Wow.
Really?
No.
Joe, you would.
Yeah.
There are lots of shoes that I'm not a rich man either. I'm just these are things I've coveted so much, and in my head the price on them
but maybe
is,
people
is
call
higher
me
than that.
crazy and they're just like, hey,
No,
you know, this
I'm
is
not
what
saying
this-
you're crazy for
I
not
know,
wanting
I know.
to spend $1,500 on a sneaker. I'm probably the crazy person.
Same here.
Everyone's like, oh, you know, this is what the sneaker world's all about. Like, you should jump on getting your Grail for $1,500. But in my head, I've just never been able to. I've never wanted to spend that much money for something that I'm just gonna wear. You know, it doesn't like those two things don't connect.
That's, again,
For me.
you're not the crazy one.
I respect it. Yeah.
And also, New Balance has kind of been in this space before. Remember the Horween leather New Balances?
Well, New Balance are always expensive in general.
Yeah.
But then there was a point where they're like, oh, $500, $400 New Balance shoes. You
Which
know,
I feel like those didn't go over too well. You get those on sale pretty regularly, if
Yeah.
I remember correctly.
Yep.
I mentioned SB Dunks.
Listen, SB Dunks, the schedule is a little all over the place. We know that. We haven't got to this yet.
No.
We put out a list.
Put out a list, the top 20 best Nike SB Dunks of all time.
Mm-hmm.
We were holding off on this.
This one's so hard.
This is fun.
It's yeah.
This is pure nostalgia
There's
for me.
so
Enjoy.
many good ones.
Well, I feel like this one is tough too because we've done like the best of list, but they're models, right? Where
Yeah.
they're different sneakers.
Yeah, usually we're talking about silhouettes when we're talking best of.
But when you start talking about colorways,
Yeah.
it gets so much like you're in the weeds of.
It's deep.
Yes, that's tough.
That's where I like to be. In the weeds, in the mud.
In the mud for sure. So we did this a few weeks back at this point.
And one of the things I want to say is a lot of times when we make these lists, we exclude things that never released or hyper strikes or things that barely released. But it felt
This one-
appropriate here to blur the lines a bit because so much of what collectible SB Dunks were about at their peak were the unattainable or the
Well, there's also
unicorns,
shoes that
the
just-
mythical things.
The shoes
Yes.
that just tell the story of SB. And I was trying to explain that to people because not that people were coming for our heads on this, but everyone always wants
We got
to,
this list right.
No, everyone wants to, and there's shoes on there where I'm like, hey, that could have made the top. I'm not saying
no,
that
it's
should.
bulletproof.
No,
The
but
chatter was a lot less than the
They
collaborators.
know. The people
No,
who
I
like
know.
to chatter,
No,
y'all
I know,
don't
but
know
even-
about
no,
SB
but I'm just
Dunks.
saying
Let's
because
just
there's
be
so many
honest.
Is that what you think it is?
Yes.
there's
Oh.
so many SB colorways out there where I'm like, oh, that one's really good. I don't know. You know what I mean? Where
Yeah.
I'm like, but I felt like when we did this, the goal was, yes, to rank the best SB Dunks of all time, but also to kind of try to tell like a whole story
Yes.
of Nike SB within the list.
Yes.
So I know a lot of old heads out there, us included, were like, it needs to be all the 2003, 2004 like shoes, like the very early on ones, which
And the best era of SB Dunks.
and I get it, but it can't just be just that
Right.
Yeah.
and nothing else.
Right. Should we get into the list?
Let's get into it.
Okay.
Right off the bat.
Something
Most controversial.
Right
Was it-
away.
Right off the bat. Number 20, Ben & Jerry's Nike SB Dunk Low Chunky Dunky. Here's what I would say. Remember years ago when people just wanted the Yeezy 350s?
Yes.
They were just, how do I get a pair?
End of the 2010s.
Yeah, how do I get a pair? The casual people that you saw around town, my son really wants these for back to school. Then I think recently it got to like the Travis 1 lows a lot. This though, this is still for a different generation. This is still a Christmas gift. This is still the one.
These were the South Beach LeBrons.
This is the-
Yeezys.
Yeah.
This is the one that the kids and, you know, not even just kids, but this is so coveted.
Yes.
It's like still on a lot of people's lists as like a recent grail. It's one of the shoes that when you are talking to a bunch of people who don't do it every single day,
They know about that shoe.
they inquire about this shoe
It's
to
the
me
most. It's
a lot.
one of the most mainstream Nike SB
Yes.
Dunks of all time,
And-
if not the most mainstream Nike SB Dunk of all
Oh,
time.
interesting. It might
Oh.
be. It might be. Wow. I never even thought about it like that. Look, in putting this list together, we knew it was important to have some representative of SB Dunks in this decade.
In 2020, yeah.
Because there was a renewed interest around SB Dunks in this decade, a new level of hype. We've spoken about it
Travis
at
Scott.
length on this podcast, and we wanted to have at least one representative from that. And to us, the Chunky Dunky was the best version of that in the 2020s.
We got right putting this one over Travis.
I think
so. Yeah.
And I didn't read this blurb right before, but Ben Felderstein says, I don't know about you, but once a year I get a text from a random family member saying, wow, did you see these shoes? They're insane. And in 2020, that text was always centered on the Ben & Jerry's Dunk. Well
see,
said. It's
here,
true.
What I'm going to say is that when I prefaced it saying that, you know, a lot of the old heads are going to be upset. The person who's upset that Bisons or Wheat Highs didn't make the list is going to be upset that the Chunky Dunky
is there instead of them.
Yes.
Generational gap.
And hey, look, I totally get that sentiment because I feel like I'm that person if I didn't work here, right? Like I'd be like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Like, why is this shoe on the list?
I love them.
But I totally get number 20, most mainstream Nike SB dunk of all time. Just put it there. It tells the story of the new generation of hype.
Yeah, a shoe you still see a lot, even if most of the ones you see are fake.
Have I don't think I've ever worn them, but I do love them.
Remember you had a PG track you down the
Yes, the case.
And remember Hikmet famously eating ice cream out of them, something you
Hikmet.
defended.
Yep.
Shouts to Hikmet. Number 19, we go a totally different direction. Nike SB Dunk Low Super. For the real, we just talked about
And
the real heads.
Yeah.
and then this is, and people say,
2002.
why does this shoe make the list? Because to some people, they don't even know this shoe.
And if you don't know this shoe, just sit back and listen.
What's the
If
term
you don't know
the
this shoe,
real-
you can't critique it being on the list.
the term is you weren't, sorry. The
You
term
wasn't
is
there.
You weren't outside.
So the reason why this shoe made the list is that in 2002, when Nike SB launched, to gain credibility in skateboarding, they got 4 legendary skateboarders. Danny Supa, Richard Mulder, Gino Iannucci, and Reese Forbes. And they gave them all a SB dunk. And there was an original pack of dunks. And for our view, that this was the best out
of that group.
And people can argue maybe it's the Reese. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
we talk about generational, and we'll get to number 1. When I was posting a lot that the one that we'll get is number 1, I got like someone who was connected to the industry back then and was like, "It's the Super is my number 1." So that just shows you.
I mean, the Super is one of those ones that, and I use this word a lot when we talk about these rankings, that is foundational, and you have to give it credit for setting the stage for what would happen with SB Dunks in the ensuing decades, 20 plus years after that. Just an early colorway that still stands up. Not that deep of a story, but you know,
Just a New
connected
York-based-
to New York sports teams.
yep.
Beautiful shoe, nice leather. Just one of those ones that really started things off.
I like the Mulder.
Okay.
Personally, it's the white shoe with the blue swoosh. It's inspired by, he went to a Nike outlet and saw a pair of tennis classics and wanted to make that into an SB dunk. I thought that was a cool story. But
Yeah, I think the Super is more memorable. I wanted the Super a lot as
Classic.
a young man.
Number 18, and I'm going to say this a bunch on this list. The fact that this is 2 in, it just shows you how stacked this list is.
That's the thing. I had so much
Stacked.
fun going through these because it just brought me so much joy thinking about all these shoes and all the memories I have associated with them and how good they all are.
there's a huge archive on, actually Nike still has it up themselves, where you can go through, like, because for those who don't know, it's like every era of Nike SB is defined by the box that it came in. They change it as the years went on. So it's like you can kind of search by the box, and then
pink box, black box.
Yep. Silver box.
Yes. And number 18, Huff Nike SB Dunk High. You wrote this blurb.
Best tough shoe there is?
Yes.
I think so.
What else?
Yeah, I guess
It's the best tough shoe
I
there
like
is.
some of the Air Maxes, but yeah.
Me too. This one, though, is special.
I mean, Welty could speak better to Keith Huffnagel's importance in skateboarding than I can, but just one of those moments where they picked the right partner and that partner told a story. It's a San Francisco shoe, the tie-dye on it. It just makes sense, but it came in a time when storytelling in shoes wasn't overdone. It still felt novel. That blast of color on the side panel felt like something that could only happen in Nike SB.
And the like rusty kind of upper.
Yeah, distressed leather,
yeah.
worn down a bit.
In Huff, it was a great bridge for Nike SB because he's from New York. He moves to California. So he's not just a West Coast skateboarder, even though San Francisco massively important to street skating and all the influence there. So, I mean, I think he's just like kind of like the perfect vessel for Nike SB to really bridge the sneaker community around.
Yeah. Joe, you have a pair of these?
I do.
Yeah,
I do.
I've seen you wear these quite a bit.
Yes. I'm trying to think. I forget where, but yeah, I love these. Definitely 18. It's like crazy.
It's an important one.
Yeah.
It's an important one.
This one is not my favorite at 17.
Okay. Nike SB Dunk High Skunk.
It's not my favorite.
Look, this shoe arrived.
It has to be on the list.
Yes.
But I totally get where you're coming from on it.
This shoe arrived in an era that was pretty dry for SB Dunks.
Post golden era SB.
Yes.
I always
came
say,
out in 2010.
I always say that SB kind of ended either what the dunk was kind of like the bookend on
Demarcation point.
of SB, or the MF Doom release. 'Cause
Okay,
I
like
felt
the last good ones.
That's
or
like-
last great ones.
after the Doom came out,
Yeah.
it kind of felt like, not that SB was like whack,
Mhm.
but all the people who were like the hardcore collectors who had all the original grails
Yeah.
who on Nike Talk weren't going for the new shoes
Yeah.
anymore.
And it's interesting because the Skunk Dunks showing up in 2010, if you think about SB's decade by decade, the 2000s, that's the best decade for them. We're in a renaissance for them in the 2020s, I want to say, but the 2010s are the low point for them as a whole if you think about these 10-year spans. And this one shows up right before, right as that decade is kicking off. Again, I think kind of in that zone of one of the last great ones.
Well, there's like people asking, that whole like kind of post or towards the end of SB era, they're like, why didn't Skater Dies make the list? And I'm like, you may have liked that shoe when it came out because you were young and it was like impressionable,
flashy
on you.
colorway,
But like, I think there's a big,
Pac-Man, all that stuff.
I think there's a lot of difference between people conflating their personal favorite SB Dunks when they were like 14 versus what the best SB Dunks
exactly.
are of all
Like
time.
I had the Spider-Man Dunk mids and I wore them a ton in college and I liked that shoe a
Or
lot.
like
and
those
it means
Space
something to me.
Tiger SB Dunks. It's like that's not
I would
what-
never try and put those on a list of the 20 best SB Dunks of all time, but Skunks absolutely deserve the spot.
Yeah, and I think that the shoe looks great, and I think like the materials and the hairy suede and things like that. Also, maybe one of the most viral moments of sneaker shopping history, Mike Tyson.
Oh, Mike Tyson, yeah.
Squeezing. Yeah, it's just one that I never really chased, and one that I never really was like, oh, I have to have these. And I feel like going through this list, there's so many that I chased and so many that I still don't have.
Well, yeah, like you said, it was really. I feel like once that shoe had, the time that shoe had come out,
Skunk Dunks.
just a lot of people were kind of just already out of the SB game to some extent. Not like SBs were lame to them, but it was just like they were onto other things at that point.
But it just has so much going for it. It's almost a 50-yard read type shoe with that super fuzzy
for
suede.
sure.
And it's the type of sneaker, again, that could only exist in Nike SB. A very overt reference to 420, weed culture, just something so irreverent that could only live here.
I feel like also too for me on that shoe, it's like it's a good looking shoe, but if you're not into smoking weed, that shoe's just kind of like not for you.
I don't
Really?
want
I
to
still
sound
think-
I don't want to sound prude. It's kind of like that for me.
I think they're still hard. I couldn't put them on my feet because it's like a dude weed shoe.
But I do
well, that's
think-
what he's kind of saying.
But
a
what I
little.
do think
I
though,
feel like-
still looks good to me.
but I do
Yeah,
think
it does. It
and
does.
I'm the least
Hold on,
weed
but I
guy
agree.
But what I
ever.
do think though is that oddly enough, the hemp dunks, you could get away with that shoe if you
I
weren't
wanted
into
blue
smoking
That's a good
weed.
take. That's a
Hemp
good
Dunks
take.
a
Like you
lot.
would, I
Scott
actually
Renas
know
had
white
them
shoe
on
you wouldn't wear.
Porter.
No, but this is a good take, and also very like one is super over the top, and the other one's a little more subtle.
Subtle,
but
yeah.
Okay, next shoe on the list, number 16, Nike
Love it.
SB Dunk Low Hunter.
Love it, but I don't know if this is better than the Huff. I don't know.
Is
I
this the
love
best
this
is
shoe.
Is this the best Reese Forbes shoe?
Dude, okay, I'm glad you asked this question because I was campaigning for Reese Forbes denim dunks. I think those are still incredible, and that's one of those SB dunks that if I could have any, I might pull that out.
Over these.
Which one would you rather have?
I know more
Denims
people like
or-
the Hunters.
It's tough. It's tough because I love the denims too, but I love these. I love these.
Welty, were you a fan of the Hunter SB Dunk Low?
Yeah, and it's funny because the one I didn't get those, but I ended up getting the Brian Anderson dunks, which I feel like to some extent were the poor man Hunter.
I love the
Yeah.
Brian
No,
Andersons.
great shoe. Hold on, great
Camo
shoe.
dunk
The
high.
hell
Not
out of those.
Not hating on that
Yeah.
shoe at
Yes.
all. I own them. You know,
Yes.
like I spent way too much money on that
How much?
shoe.
Really?
What? Because it was like back when shops would like head crack
Oh,
for it, and I think it was like 150,
Yeah.
which was a lot at the time.
Yeah, of course.
yeah. I
But-
got them for retail, and I remember just wearing them so much. Those Brian Andersons, the tongue was by the time just so flimsy and to the side.
I remember buying them, and I go in the store, and like I picked a shoe up, and they were friggin', I think 175 on the thing, and they were like, I was like, man, I want these. He's like, what size are you? I go 11, but I go, I can't pay $175 for a pair of shoes. He goes, don't worry, I got you for 150, and I was like, okay,
like that was a great deal.
yeah, I know.
Oh, like the LeBron meme.
Was
Yeah.
that well after the release?
No, it was like the week they came out. It wasn't like released because remember Dunks didn't really have like release days
Sure.
per se, but
Sure. Nike SB Dunk Low Hunter. Yeah, I mean,
great shoe. But wait, so
Wait, but what?
do you think that we not messed up, but would
the
Are these
group-
better than the Huff highs? Let's just say real quick.
I think so. I don't.
Are we doing
I
the thing
like
that we
Dunk-
always do of rearranging our list?
Hold on,
randomly?
I don't know.
I
I
like-
think it's a pick 'em.
I like dunk lows more than dunk highs.
Yes,
Just
in
ki-
general, I'll take a dunk low over a dunk high
Okay.
every time.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe for that reason we can give it the spades. Next one up.
Another one where you're like 15, really?
That
15?
speaks to how good
That's what I mean.
all these shoes
15?
are. MF Doom, Nike SB Dunk High,
So-
15.
These are in your top 10.
No, it's not.
Oh.
I love this shoe, and
This
obviously,
is in my top 10.
I've
Okay.
told this story a bunch of times.
Yeah.
You know, I got the shoe on release date, got head cracked once again for the shoes.
What'd you pay? 185.
No,
They just looked at you like a victim every time
no,
you
not
walked
me.
in the
They
store.
did, this was just this
Yeah.
one. There's this one shop, and it was the only shop in the area.
Got it.
And they actually made you. We had to camp out for this. It started to rain, and like everyone got there, and like, how much were they charging for? Because they didn't tell us. And we got to the front of the line. Everyone's like, hey, they're $250.
It's the sunken cost thing of you're like, I've already slept in the rain. I've already been out here for a day plus. I have to just spend the money on the shoe,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, but either way, I think that's a great shoe, amazingly executed. But it just the thing to me is that I just feel like that shoe's legends started to grow kind of like way after the fact. Because I'm saying like when it came out, it felt like SB was like almost done to some extent.
2007.
Almost done. So it didn't really have the same. It didn't live in the same light as a lot of the other shoes ahead of it.
Yeah,
during the golden
the
era.
shoes that released prior.
Yeah.
De La Soul, SB Dunks, things like that.
And I think that was an argument that we had when we, because the shoe will be coming up on the list, but
Yep.
the De La Highs versus the Dooms, and some people in our group were saying Dooms over De La's, and I'm like, you can't say that because during the real heyday of Nike SB, the De La High meant so much more than the MF Doom, and I'm a huge MF Doom fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You love that shoe.
And the Doom exists because of the De La shoe.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think the Doom SB Dunk could exist without the De La shoe. So you have to give the nod to that shoe. Even though, again, I'll take the Doom SB Dunk all day. I actually own a pair. De La's I never owned. Sure, I wanted them as a teenager, but never really chased them as an adult. Doom means a lot more to me as an artist. Still.
Number 14, we just talked about De La Soul, Nike SB Dunk High.
So good.
I remember it yesterday. Like
Vividly.
I remember it like it's yesterday. The
Vividly.
pink box opening. And I remember like I took the brown laces. I didn't switch the laces, but I took the brown laces, took them out of the bag. I could see it like it was yesterday. These were such a moment. Crazy. If you didn't understand it, you didn't understand it. We don't have to rehash the story when I was in the pool from last week.
Yeah.
Poolside, yeah.
And they said, oh, what are those? Literally, before people were saying, what are those?
People were trying to say, "Oh, we should have the lows instead of the highs,"
Wrong.
and it's like
Wrong.
I get that the
Wrong.
low is a
Wrong.
more
Objectively
the
wrong.
low is
Yes.
a more palatable shoe. And I'll tell you this much: when I first got into Dunks, I saw the lows. I'm like, "Oh, this shoe's better," just because it looks more like a regular shoe to some extent. It has like that classic Dunk paneling on it. That shoe is 10 times better than the low top.
I'll do you one better. These sold out day one,
Yeah,
and the lows didn't at my skate shop.
and this is
They weren't sitting, but these sold out in hours at Special Sauce. The De La lows were sitting for maybe day and a half.
funny small side. You made me remember this, and this is such a stupid thing. When I used to go to downtown Portsmouth, New Hampshire, to like go buy a pair of SBs because you didn't know what was in shop, and you're like hoping that there's going to be something good. Every single time I would go, I would throw on De La Soul, the song I Know, and for some reason I thought that was my lucky song. And if I listened to that one song on the way to driving to the sneaker store, that something good would show up.
Wow, that was like your WWE entrance theme.
Yeah.
And did it ever pan out for you?
Sometimes.
Okay.
All right.
Number 14. Now we're at number 13. We brought her up. In
Yes,
the banter.
that's right.
And we all know internally,
Oh, this is the Sarah Honda
it's an
shoe.
inside joke, but this is the Sarah Honda ones.
Yes.
Number
I'm kind of mad I got rid of my pair.
Oh, with those electric laces, you're bugging. Number 13, Nike SB Dunk Low Jedi.
One of those awesome shoes that references a pop cultural moment in a cheeky way. Yoda colored shoe, green accents, the lightsaber.
People are gonna get mad, and I don't care. It's like a lot of times like a Star Wars shoe. There are some okay ones out there. There's like an Adidas ZX8000.
A lot of the Adidas
that I
Star
like.
Wars shoes are good.
But I feel
There
like
were some that weren't though.
Maybe
that
just in my
that I
head
was
that
doing
weren't.
that I was doing kicks of the day on complex.com.
were,
There
yeah.
was a lot that like
I feel like a Star Wars shoe could easily get, and a lot of these pop cultural shoes can easily get a little too, in my opinion, like nerdy or corny.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm not into it. Whatever, all the people out there. But this one to me is like you don't even have to like Star Wars
Correct.
to like this shoe.
Yeah.
Correct. Amazing
The-
color
the-
blocking.
The laces.
And that okay, so that's one
The
thing.
laces make the shoe.
Yes.
That's rare too. The laces make the shoe. The color blocking is amazing, but whoever picked those electric neon green laces.
So
we're clapping it up, and Joe wants us all to clap
So
it
this
up.
another shoe that
He's not gonna
didn't
clap
a shoe
it
that
up,
didn't
no.
make the cut, and I don't know why. I feel like you can kind of compare these two, even though you probably can't. Maybe
Let's
in my
see.
head you do. In your personal opinion, Brendan, would you rather have homers over Jedis?
Me, yes. And I regret selling my homers. But Homer was one that Homer didn't make the list.
No.
I was campaigning hard for Homer SB Dunks, but maybe it's just a personal pick. I'm a
It's a
huge
good
Simpsons
shoe.
fan since I was a kid. Learned
Hold on.
everything I know from that show.
It's a great shoe.
Oh,
I just
really?
don't think that like if you're only gonna whittle it down to 20, it's like one of the most definitive SBs.
All right, I'll take that argument. But yes, me personally, I would rather have the Homers over the Jedis.
But see, I like having this because when people are like, "Why isn't my personal favorite on
Yeah.
the list?" It's like you can even say, "Hey, I like this shoe
Yes,
more," but I
yeah.
know it doesn't make the list.
Yes, I would rather have Homers over Jedis, Daylaws. I'm
Homers
looking
are
at the
great
other ones.
shoes.
They are, but not-
Hunters.
Seeing it in the Murs Badman music video, but
All right, next up on here, Concepts Nike SB Dunk Low Lobster number 12.
so this is one that people were like, this is a real generational thing. I feel like because to people who are maybe in their 20s, this is like one of the best SB dunks of all time, and it is one of the best SB dunks because it's on the list. But when I mean best SB dunks of all time, I mean,
They're thinking it's top 5.
yes, and it's tough because Concepts has obviously nailed the lobster stuff, but like we're saying, it came a little bit after. We're not like penalizing shoes for
right.
that, but the lobsters are almost like an anomaly on the SB line where it's like they've had so much success off of something that isn't rooted in the original days of SB.
Yeah, and it's also an anomaly because there aren't that many SB Dunk collab series like this that really live on and have sequels so much throughout the years. Am I wrong there? Are there other good examples? I feel like only the Lobster has been able to redo the colorway again and again.
Just
It's the same
straight up.
interest. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know you had like, it doesn't really count, but it's like the purple Pigeon.
Yeah, I don't count that.
Medicom had a bunch of shoes.
Yeah, but the
Like
Concepts,
one-to-one,
SB
like
Dunk
just
Lobster just
yeah.
sticks with the theme, and I think that's why this shoe is still relatively high. We have it at number 12 here. It's a shoe that first came out in 2008. I'm looking at my notes, and then still exists today. You know that people are still into them, and I think that there's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah.
You know, because you had that, and it was like the red was the original one.
Yeah,
It-
the rubber band around the
you know,
toe,
the
like
crates and everything,
Yes.
and
the blue
Made
lobster.
the news.
Yeah,
But I feel like the blue lobster, it's like for some people that one's bigger than the red. I don't see it, you know. The blue lobster is cool to me, but it's like I don't like the blue with the neon laces as much. I know we
I
talked
think-
about the neon laces, but
If I could have one pair to wear, it'd be the blue lobster, but I'm gonna give it to the red lobster making the entry because it's the one that started the series.
and also if you had started it with the blue lobster, I feel like the whole line wouldn't make sense.
agree, totally.
Another one. How many times? Someone put a counter. How many times? Number
You
11.
look stressed.
This could be top.
Well, hey, this
be top 8, top
this
5.
could be one of the most either aged very well or revisionist history shoes
Why?
Yes.
in SB
Wait,
history.
really?
Yes.
Yes.
Wait,
He's
wait.
totally right.
Let's hear that.
Hold on.
Okay.
Let's say the shoe. Say the shoe.
Number 11, Stussy Nike SB Dunk Low.
Great Nike SB Dunk. Great
Great
Nike,
concept.
I love them. I wanted them
But-
for years.
But for the first 10, 12, 13 years of that shoe's
Quiet.
existence,
Yes.
it was a good shoe, but it wasn't the shoe it is now.
Yes.
And then what happened?
Did Travis wear
I
it?
think so.
Travis Scott put on a pair.
I
And
think
they
so.
look great.
People got back in SB Dunks.
They look
I
great.
love them though. I remember.
the value skyrocketed.
I remember
and
the
that's okay. We're not mad at that.
No, not at all. I remember the day I got these. I was like, oh, you know what? These, like, to me, it's like Tiffany's big brother, these little brother to me. That's where I put
But they
them.
came out at the same time. They were part
Yeah.
of the
Team
team's
manager series.
Yeah. You know, if we're writing the history of SB, not that saying this is exactly the history of SB, but to be like, hey, the Stussy Dunks were always like the 7th best Nike SB dunk of all time. It's just not true.
No.
You think it's good at 11?
Yeah, I think so
Okay.
because, and again, I say this as a person, like I'll reiterate, who always wanted the shoe, who still thinks about the shoe and still hopes that the prices will one day fall so I can get back in on it or around $300. Somebody wants to bless me.
$300. Keep dreaming.
But if we had made this list in like 2012,
Yeah.
right? I feel like we're talking about denim dunks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That shoe would have been over Stussy. The shoe that didn't even make the list, Wheat Highs.
Yeah.
That would have been over Stussy.
Man, this
Totally.
Shoe that didn't make the list, London Dunks.
Yep.
Yeah.
People
this
are mad about that one,
Yeah.
and I get it. That's a super hype shoe, and it's part of that whole City series early on. But I remember saying to you when we were making the list, don't you think London should, or do we think that London should be on the list?
I don't think so. I don't think they mean enough to enough people, and they just pale so much in comparison.
Literally?
to the yes, thank you, nice, to the Pigeon Dunks in the City Series pack.
And Paris.
Yeah, Paris. There's the London is nowhere near Paris SB Dunks or Pigeon Dunks, but we could talk more about that later. Yeah,
The Stussy right before the Stussy is definitely one where like I'm in the room and I'm like, oh, the Stussys are definitely going to be top 10. I'm going to argue for it, and then
You
it's
see all the other
personal-
stuff though.
It's the personal choice.
Yeah.
That
What would you rather have, a pair of the Stussy Dunks or a lifetime supply of Neapolitan ice cream?
I'll take Stussy Dunks.
Stussy Dunks.
Okay.
You?
I think Neapolitan ice cream's not my favorite. So.
You didn't even not a remotely hard
Okay,
choice.
yeah.
But just to put a pin in this one, yes, the shoe wasn't that big of a deal for most of its history, but now it is for a lot of people. I think
For
who
sure.
got into SB more recently, so we're willing to put it about
For sure.
halfway through the list to represent the fact that people are very into it.
But I
right
feel
now
like that
and
would be
rate it
a-
very highly right now.
I feel like that would be like a admission that we didn't really know our stuff if we like put
Would
this
be a
as like
disservice.
number 4 or 5.
Would be a disservice. Number 10, FLOMs, Futura Nike SB Dunk High
This to me,
for
like,
love or money.
it seems mythical to me a little bit.
Yeah,
but
and
people also got.
I
it's one of
probably have
those
seen
ones.
these. I've probably seen these in person maybe 3 times.
So I had made Instagram reel, talking about the top 10 SB dunks of all time, and it's just from this list. So if
Yeah.
you go and watch it, you'll see it, and then you'll see it as the next few in a row. People are like, "Wait, but these are all shoes that like didn't come out,"
Right.
And it's like tough because you're talking about that with like the history of SB, and we're like talking about these like mythical shoes that mean so much. They're like the ultimate grails. But the one that we did leave off, just to address it, is Iron Maiden's.
Yes.
That shoe wasn't even a Friends of. It just never came out.
That was one, that Yachty was chasing for a while.
Alex Wang, Retro Kid, pulled out a pair of
I also
a
feel
different
like-
version of them
Last
in
weekend?
Portland. Yeah, I'll
Do you have
put
a
the
picture?
photo. Yeah.
Let's put the
I
photo
feel
in.
like I don't know. Iron Maiden's cool, but I just feel like that shoe doesn't look that great. It's
Name
just
3
like
songs.
actually the song Iron Maiden by Iron Maiden is wherever. Yeah, that song.
Gotta clear it.
That's one.
Yeah.
No,
Okay,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. You're not pretending to be an
But
Iron
let's
Maiden
get back
fan.
to this one.
Yes, FLOMs. Cool shoe. A shoe with the meaning to it. A shoe that's pushed the level of graphics you could do on an SB Dunk. Futura is super important to the history of streetwear and contributed a lot to Nike.
And it was a play too on like our shoes.
Yes.
Really worth how much is that we were saying that they
Yeah.
are, or like
There's something prophetic about the sneaker. It's asking this question: are you into this stuff for the love or for the money? And I think that that's worth celebrating. And yeah, one of those shoes that had a message to it. A lot of Nike SB Dunks had a story to them, but not a lot of them had a message to them. And I think that's one of the things that makes this one cool.
super rare grail. Also funny aside, I think we can laugh about it now. Friend of ours, John Geiger, got beat with a fake pair.
Oh yes,
That like went around because he had I think he had paid a bunch of money for them, and like people were like, wait, those aren't real.
fake FLOMs.
Yeah.
Hate to see it.
Tough.
Another mythical one.
All right, next shoe on the list.
Yep.
Number 9, Nike SB Dunk Low Freddy. Does nothing for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you okay? It does nothing for you, but you know it's a top 10 SB Dunk.
Yeah.
It's like the grail of grails for a
It
lot
is.
of people.
It is for sure. I know that. It
But then
definitely
also
is a
came out
grail.
later.
Just
It
one
also
that
came out
like
later too.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's so representative of the irreverence of Nike SB and this thing where they are referencing something without calling it by name or making a design that you can look at it and this is about Freddy Krueger.
But I was Freddy Krueger for Halloween once. I was, and they still don't.
If we
hit.
don't have a
Did-
photo
wait,
of that,
I
if Good
don't-
Burger
I
does
don't-
not find the
they
photo,
Oh, I
had-
had the hand, and I had the little fedora, my dad's fedora.
If they had done like 30,000 pairs of these
Yeah.
or whatever, then no one even knows how many SBs they made back in the day. But say they had made enough that people had them.
yeah,
Do you think that this shoe would hold the same place?
not as special.
But do you think it would be on the list still?
I think it would be a top
Yeah.
20 shoe if it had a proper release with no controversy around it. But for people who don't know, the controversy around it was it's one of those Nike SB shoes that got too close to referencing something without being an official partner. There weren't as many SB collabs back in the day. Most of the time when they were doing these references, it was without the consent of the people who were holding the rights to the intellectual property that they're referencing. So it's a shoe made to look like Freddy Krueger that New Line Cinema was not looped in on, and the story goes, the myth goes that once they found out about the shoe, Nike got worried, and there was maybe some cease and desist or something like that. They moved to destroy all the pairs, but some pairs were already floating around in the market. There's these stories about lighter fluid on shoes that they were
Those shoes that are stained.
light on fire, and somebody
Yeah.
saved them from the fire. But I just think it's such a perfect representation of just what Nike SB did so well, which is pushing that line and being daring and
Yeah.
doing things that you couldn't get away with
Disruptive.
elsewhere in
Yeah.
Nike.
What
Yeah,
if that whole thing was like a farce?
totally a brand concocted myth.
Yeah.
I mean, it
Clone
wouldn't be the first time we fell for one. So what are you gonna do?
Like they actually did pour lighter fluid on the shoes, but they knew that they weren't going to release it. And they're like, we're going to like create this whole.
SB Horror Pack Monsters Under the Bed. Currency said it. Yeah, that meant something to me when I was a young man.
A shoe that didn't make the list. I don't mind bringing it up here, but I think a lot of people like it. I wanted the shoe, and it was very hard to get back in the day. One, because it didn't release in the United States.
Okay. I don't know where we're going.
Dia de los Muertos,
I wanted those a lot.
So did I.
Day of the Dead.
So did I.
I wanted those a lot.
They only released in Canada and Mexico, of course.
Here's the thing. That's one of those shoes that came out in that era of all over print hoodies.
What year?
As colorful as possible.
07
I definitely chased those.
or 06 or
but
07.
but when you look at them in 2024, to me, it just doesn't
Didn't
hold
hold
up
up?
that well,
Okay.
and it's just not a shoe that you could really wear.
But when you saw that, when I first saw that shoe on
For
like
sure.
Hypebeast, I was
Love
like, oh
them.
my god,
Love them.
my brain exploded. There's yes.
I mean, that was the same thing. We don't have it on set anymore, but like when I first saw the Mork and Mindy dunks online, I was just like, what the heck is this?
Yeah, you lost your mind.
Yeah.
What's the next shoe on this list?
Number 8, Nike SB Dunk Low Heineken.
A lot like the Freddy.
These shoes did come out though, so they went into skate shops. There's a podcast way back in the day. Kevin Loyster, friend of the program, former colleague.
Oh yeah, he was telling a story about.
He had bought a pair in South Jersey.
You know what? It's funny. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I think I'm actually even conflating the story of the Freddy and the Heineken a little bit because their stories are so similar. About Freddy's never really showed up anywhere in the
No,
market,
Freddy's
right?
didn't, but
I
Heineken's
misspoke there.
did. Heineken's
Heineken was
came
the
out.
one. Yeah.
And then word came out that, hey, they're doing a Heineken shoe.
Yeah, it has the star on there.
Yeah.
It has the star right on there. Like, this is really pushing that line.
And Heineken to me is like a perfect example of like Nike SB really connecting with the culture of skateboarding because it's like, it's just the beer. But at the time, like
if I'm a skateboarder, I'm drinking Heineken.
it's like 90s East Coast hip hop and skateboarding. Heineken was like the beer to drink. So it's like, you see that and you're like, yeah, they get it, you know?
So when it was drinking beers, the German ones, it was in fact a Dutch beer.
I think they're probably talking about Beck's in that
Got it.
one. But either way,
I defer to you. Heineken and strip all those things out, and it's just a shoe that looks good. The green and white color blocking with the black swoosh. There were rumors recently about these coming back around because somebody who runs Heineken's social media popped out with a little teaser the same day as the Tiffany Air Force One, and there was even somebody who said the rumor is that there's a Heineken Air Force One.
Did you just prove that?
You can't prove a negative. You don't always want to dunk on people when they're saying wrong stuff
Dunk
about sneakers on the internet, but
That's
we pass up a lot of opportunities like that. I'll tell you that.
Shows a lot of restraint.
Heineken SB Dunks, a classic.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 7, Supreme Nike SB Dunk High.
Some people think that this should be over the Supreme lows.
Those people are wrong.
I agree.
With
Those people are wrong.
yes.
Oh,
This is another one of those shoes that came out in that era of, well, no, this is like a little bit earlier, but I think it still represents that all over print as flashy as possible, especially
It's one of
with
the
our
first.
sneakers. Yeah,
It's like one of the first, 2003.
yeah, but holds up really well with the stars just on the mid panel.
But it was before that all over flashy.
You're right. You're
streetwear
right.
craze.
Croc paneling, just like showed how bright and audacious an SB Dunk could be, how unrestrained it could be, and just helping establish Supreme as one of Nike's most important collab partners and everything that followed.
There's that sample we've seen posted a trillion times on the internet where it has the Nike logo instead of the stars on the side.
Yeah. Joe, did you have a pair of these back in the day?
No.
No?
Never.
White shoe.
Never.
I feel like you got close to these.
No, I never got close to these either.
Which color would you get if you could have one?
I'll take blue
Red.
Same.
if I can get them for
No,
around
I'd take
$300.
I would do red probably.
And it's funny.
Although these blue are
we're
the blue
getting
and the
to
gold.
the best shoes on the list, and maybe it sounds weird that we don't have as much to say about them as the ones that were lower, but it's almost like I feel like there's not as much of a need to defend them.
That makes sense though to me.
It's just like
You
you look at
see
the
it, you
shoe,
know.
it's like it's
no,
a hard
and
shoe.
listen, we're not taking an easy route. I think that's what happens as you get closer.
Yeah,
to
you're
the
like,
list.
of course it's Supreme Dunk.
Do we have
You
to
don't have to
defend?
say
Everybody
anything.
always
What did
wanted
Alex Pereira do? Like that?
What is that?
Pahea.
Yeah.
Who is that?
It's just he was just like
Who is that?
Shama.
yeah.
What is that? Where?
It's a
UFC.
UFC.
Oh,
Yeah.
I saw Cheeto this weekend.
Oh, shouts to Cheeto.
Yeah.
Yeah. He knocked the guy out, and then was just like,
Noted.
kind of like this list is just like,
Yeah.
this is where it is.
Noted. Okay. What's next up on this list?
Number 6, another dunk that people had at number 1.
What the Nike SB Dunk Low?
It can't be. It's a great shoe. It can't.
Bunch of people had it at 1.
It's
Number
not-
one, no,
it's
because this
not.
is not that. It's like the Chunky Dunky, where it's like not even that wearable. It's a cool art project type shoe, a bizarre brazen creation. Again, I've said it before, that could only come from Nike SB. Actually, no, should only come from Nike SB until Nike watered it down and decided we need a what the Paul George shoe and stuff like that. Like who? What?
You look at that shoe and it's great. You know.
What the SB Dunk?
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like it came out to celebrate the Nike SB skate video that had dropped the same time. That shoe was super hard to get.
For sure.
Like
Yes.
not like
Yes.
so with SB, it's like you had to go to skate shops to get them, but not every skate shop got every cool SB at the time. You know, like if you just go into kind of like a skate shop that. So back in the day, to have an SB account, you had to sell skateboards, right? So you'd go into some of these places that had SB accounts because they sold skateboards, but they may have had like hiking gear too, you know? And it's like it's a random SB account, and they're like maybe not going to get the Dino Juniors, you know? Like they're going to get the Old Spice dunks, but they're not getting the Dino Juniors. So it's like the dunk at the time when it came out, 07, that shoe was not easy to find at all.
Yeah.
Bit more protected
Yeah.
in more select channels.
Yeah.
Really good shoe though.
I just don't think it could be a top 5 shoe because it's not a very wearable shoe. It's
close, though.
it's a stunt shoe.
Yeah.
And I kind of mean that as a pejorative thing.
But it also, it exists as a celebration of Nike SB, right? But that also means that it didn't really exist in the era of the shoes that it defines.
Yes.
So it's kind of tough because when we talk about SB, we all go back to this like golden era of like
02 to 05.
yeah, or maybe like 06 maybe is like the end of it.
Yeah.
But when you think about like all over print hoodies and Lil Wayne and Bape and this whole era of streetwear that was super fun.
Yeah.
10 Deep, Crooks and Castles, like that. It's just like that shoe wasn't it was like almost a history written on SB.
Yes. If there's a Nike SB sneaker, the What the SB Dunk, that is celebrating the best of Nike SB, when we're ranking it on a list, we're going to give preference to the shoes that it's celebrating, not the shoe that celebrates them. Like we're going to give the weight to the shoes that came before it that justified having a celebration
Makes
sneaker.
sense. That makes
And
sense.
we're putting it super
And
high,
it
so
is
it's
high.
not
It's still
like
number
But
6.
that's a
We
good-
know it's a grail. You
that's
wanted
good.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a
Frenelations
good way to-
popped out with them and
That's
made them
who
look
said it was
crazy.
number 1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember there was a comment
It's a cool one
Frenelations.
because it's representative and it has pieces from all these different ones, and you look at it and you're like, holy shit, it's another mind-blowing sneaker.
See, so you look at that shoe and you see everything that's on it, and there's a lot of things that didn't make the list, and you're like, man, ray guns. You know, where it's like it just takes that
the
shoe.
Ray Guns, the re-release hurt that.
It did,
Yeah.
but just looking at that
Hurt
shoe,
your heart.
Well, yeah.
doesn't that shoe
but
doesn't
yeah.
that shoe take you back to like
It
the
does,
glory
but-
day of SB?
Ray gun
does,
or
yeah.
what the SB Dunk?
No, ray guns.
Yes, it does.
Sure.
It does.
Sure.
I didn't like the re-release. Hurt it a little.
I know, but Joe, like,
No, I know.
we're talking back in the day.
know.
Like that was one of the shoes.
I never cared about ray guns a ton. I'm not trying to be controversial.
I did for sure. Top five.
Unassailable picks.
Supreme Nike SB Dunk Low. I remember 23rd Street. Russ Bankston had these.
The most fried pair of
Russ
fried-
Bankston owns the singularly most cooked
Yes,
pair
but he
of
would
Supreme
wear them, I
SB dunks
think.
in
But
the
he's
world.
worn. He has,
Yes.
he should-
Yeah.
No, I'm saying he should go. He's in like the record of he is the human being that has worn Supreme Nike SB dunks the most.
Yes.
I just remember it, like in the cubicle. I just remember passing them every day.
How did
These
they
are.
smell?
Crunchy.
I don't know how they smell. These are though better than the highs.
Yes.
I think we got it right.
More palatable.
And it's Supreme's first collaboration with Nike SB.
Yep.
The story goes, so when they tried to launch Nike SB, so Nike was hated in the skateboarding community because skateboarding was S in America and DC shoes, right?
Not the chode.
Not the Nike Chode. They had tried to get into skateboarding before. They had sponsored Bam Margera. But either way, they'd hit up James Jebbia and they're like trying to pick his brain and be like, how do we get into skateboarding? And he was like, no, screw you guys. And he made a F Nike t-shirt.
Right.
And somehow they came around. And
Patched it up.
That's gangster.
Yes.
Shots to James.
Yes.
But think about
absolutely.
if Supreme in Nike SB never happened.
I'm melting.
Wait.
I wouldn't be
What?
sitting here.
No. How? What? Yeah.
No.
I guess. Yeah. I know.
No, but I mean, like if it,
No.
if it-
Right. We
yeah.
would be. Yeah.
like the course of history would have been completely different.
You guys would be working at finish line.
yeah.
So.
For real.
So
Auntie Anne's maybe. I'd be in the mall probably.
And it's the
also,
first-
I also think this is such a cool shoe and worth the slot over the highs. A couple reasons. The low, I'm always going to give it to a low over a high. It's more foundational. It came before it set the stage, but also it's one of those ones that is aware of sneaker culture and it's referencing Air Jordans. You see
Yes.
elephant print, cement print, whatever you want to call it, on a pair of SB Dunks in this way of like, this shoe is declaring that sneaker culture is a thing because it's saying if you're into the Dunk, you know about this other adjacent shoe that came out years later and you can see the cues on it on this shoe and you can make that connection and it's special for that reason. It's not just a color slapped on there.
But the thing that, that's funny these days is that, we're talking about Team Jordans, right? Earlier on, and like all the Team Jordans are like a shoe that has cement print like slapped on like a champ
For no
sport.
reason, yeah.
And it almost at this point, if you just see cement print on a shoe that's not not a true Air Jordan, you're almost like,
I agree.
Yeah.
they did it again, you
But
know?
how special did this feel back
But
then?
back
Elephant
then,
print.
because they had never done it before,
Yeah.
it felt awesome. In another shoe, well, it's not an SB Dunk, so it didn't make the list. But even if we're doing the best SBs of all time, I don't think it would have made the list. J-Rods,
Yeah.
where it's like,
Love those.
and that shoe
big
was
deal.
celebrated as like
The
that.
OG ones. Love
yeah.
those.
Big deal. Elephant print on
Yeah.
there.
The Jumpman on the tongue. Number 4. Uncle. Nike SB Dunk High.
best dunk high of all time.
Wow. You're right.
Yeah. I'm okay with that.
Same.
And some people don't like this shoe. I don't know.
Who
some,
doesn't like this shoe?
I don't know. Some of the
Point
things
them
are like,
out.
why
Who?
are uncles
What?
that high?
Okay. Look,
Amazing.
what
shoe.
I wrote about this shoe, and I'll stand by, is that this is just a shoe that looks incredible.
That's why it's on the list.
It's just a heater. It's just a who is the guy who did this?
Pahea.
Yes.
Pahea. It's just a Pahea, and it's funny because
It's just a Pahea.
it is a shoe with some background where you could argue that because of the cultural touch points of the shoe, and it's James Lavelle and it's Uncle, and it's Mo Wax, there's all this tie to Nike. People don't care about that. People who wanted this shoe and lined up for this shoe and spent $500 back of the day or thousands of dollars now, they don't care about, in my opinion, about any of those connections.
No, they're
to
not
the
into
shoe.
that at all.
It's just like vaguely a Futura shoe with some Point Man graphics on it,
And it's not a Futura.
and
shoe.
it's not a Futura collab, but that's the entry point, not all this extra
And
uncle
SB,
stuff.
And SB was able to make things cool. And that's like one of the funny parts about it is that like I would say that 90 plus, and I'm not an Uncle fan, so it's I knew who they were,
You're
but
an
it's-
uncle,
Yes,
Yeah,
but I'm not.
that's true.
same,
Same.
many times over.
Congrats to all of us.
I have like 8 nieces in the
Wow.
house.
But all I'm saying is that it's okay if you don't listen to Uncle, right? But it's like 90+% of the people who love this shoe and adore it so much,
Yeah,
maybe don't even know who Uncle is.
yeah.
So
Shadow and Lavelle.
Number 4. And now we go to top 3.
These are all so good.
Nike SB Dunk Low Paris.
Some people could, can make argument this is number 1.
I wouldn't be mad at them.
I think it's good at 3.
It's
Okay.
definitely.
Actually, yes. It's
hold on,
not
it's
better
good
than
at
2.
3.
It's not better than what we have
Hold
at
on,
2,
it's
good
or
at
1.
3.
Yeah,
But
you're right. You're right.
Is it safe to say that, hold on, that this isn't the best SB dunk of all time, right?
Yes.
But it's the biggest grail SB dunk of all time?
Might be.
Right? Because the two shoes above it, I feel like this shoe can
More
go,
of a grail.
can
Tougher
go-
to get.
Yeah, can go for more.
Yes, that's fair.
I'm not equating
Right.
the financial value of these
More
shoes.
mythical, yes.
Yeah. It's such a cliche. It's a thing you see in videos all the time of people explaining sneaker culture on the most base level to a wide audience, saying sneakers are a canvas for culture. And this is just the most literal, early,
Canvas?
great representation of that. It's
actual art.
in the form of a shoe. And I think
None
that
of
was
the
a
shoes
bold
look alike.
proposition when these shoes came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, each one is unique. There's the story of Dre, Croatian style, hoarding them and cornering the market on them. And again, we talk about these photos that blew our minds, or seeing things on the early sneaker internet. The photo he posted on Nike Talk with all the shoes together, it's just like, how could a human do this? How could one
Like,
man?
how do you have enough money to buy these shoes? I remember just seeing that stuff back in the day because I was like 19 years old,
Yeah.
being like, how do you have that much money?
Yeah, Paris SB Dunk, one of the best there is, one of the best City Series shoes. Not the best of the City Series. We gave that to our number 2 slot, the Pigeon Nike SB Dunk Low, Jeff Staple.
So this is where the real controversy
Shouts
comes
to
in.
Staple too. New Reed
store.
Space store, 21 Mercer.
Wow. And historic locale.
Yes.
2 versus 1. Can we say 1 as well here? Because
Yes.
it's no surprise to anybody, but I feel like the big argument here is 2 versus 1.
Yes. And there were a lot of comments.
Number
Tiffany
1.
Dunk.
Tiffany Dunk, Diamond Dunk, which the clips I feel like we've been
Yeah, we've
saying.
been talking about this for weeks now.
Yeah, I feel if I see another clip of me saying
Yes.
yes, it is. But 2 Staple Nike SB Dunk Low Pigeon.
Literally? Well, there's actually 1 staple.
He's yawning, not because he's tired of talking about shoes, because he's just tired. He's
Yes.
been here since 4 a.m.
Yeah, yes.
We'll get you out of here.
Number 2. I'm thinking it over. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. I'm thinking it over.
The merits of the Staple Dunks
yeah.
versus the Diamond Dunks.
Did we make the right decision?
Yes.
We did.
Didn't take long to think
We
about it.
did.
I will say that the Pigeon Dunks were more a grail to me growing up.
That makes sense.
Well, we want to talk about true lore around the
Yes,
shoe.
that's what I love about the Pigeon Dunks.
Yes.
The lore,
Yes,
the
the
lining
story,
up,
yes.
the machetes left behind,
Whoa.
putting people in taxi cabs on the back side of the store in order to get them home safe.
Do you think that everything that truly happened at that release is exactly what happened, or do you think it's...
We need
Print
a
the
30
legend.
for 30.
Print the
We
legend.
need a
That's
30
all.
for
or do
30
you
on
think
that.
it's maybe a little...
Print the legend.
I also
out.
feel like there was before the Pigeon Dunk and after the Pigeon Dunk
Yeah.
in sneaker culture.
Yeah. Really set off this idea that people would, could, or should line up for days on end and then sell a shoe for $1,000 on eBay right afterward. Really established that in a way.
Great shoe.
Immortal colorway.
I've only seen it behind glass cases.
Well, I think
obviously.
it also helped the lore of the shoe too, because I feel like at that era of like early sneaker culture, Jeff Staple, who's been on the podcast, Full Size Run, to go watch it,
friend to us all.
yeah, got like ahead of it all. And there's like there's like the clips of him in Just for Kicks where he's relaying the story of it. So early
Yeah.
on, you kind of knew that there was this crazy thing behind it.
Yeah.
Like the second you got into sneakers, like, did you hear about the
That's
Pigeon
what it was
Dunk
for
thing?
me as a young man. It was
Yeah.
the Pigeon Dunk being the high point, partly because of that Just for Kicks thing and his appearance on there. Just storytelling. Again, I think the word storytelling or the phrase storytelling in sneakers is so cliche and tired in 2024, but it was so important 20 years ago in establishing these emotional connections that we have with these pieces of
Do you
footwear.
feel like at any point though that like the legend of, I feel like maybe it's kind of washed away, but there was a period where like there was just so like Staple was doing so many just kind of like shoes in pigeon colorways with the bird on it, where you're like, it kind of diluted.
I think it contributes to it. New Balance 575s.
Those I
later
love.
the Panda
I love the New
Pigeons,
Balance.
things like that. Even this has nothing to do with Staple or Pigeon, but the Purple Pigeon kind of extending that. I think that those contributed to its legacy.
No, but I mean like during the period where it was like Fila and Ewing and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Where like it kind of maybe if you didn't have that stuff, maybe the Staple would be number one.
Okay. Either way, it created an empire.
It did.
But it's not the best.
No, the diamond is just. I should have brought the diamond. I should have brought one.
Just put
Just because I
just
like
to show it.
looking at it. Yes.
Joe, what about
the
photo of Nick?
the friggin' he's holding the shoe.
Welty is pantomiming. Welty is pantomiming the famous MySpace photo leak.
I have a baseball card of it. Okay,
Do you really?
I have a baseball card.
You have a baseball card
Yes,
of
I'll
Nicky
take a photo.
Diamonds?
Of
Yes.
Nick Diamond holding the shoe.
Yes.
The SB
Talk
Diamond
about-
Dunk
I
on
made
MySpace leaking it.
Made a lot of purchases. I don't know if it's the exact photo.
Yeah.
Made a lot of interesting purchases in my time.
All right.
That one is interesting. I have it on my desk at home. I'll take a picture of it.
You guys want to criticize me for buying crusty old ACGs on eBay?
Is that one of the most
PSA 10?
legendary sneaker photos on the internet of all time?
Yeah.
one of the
for
most
sure.
legendary sneakers of all time. Beautiful. Beautiful. One day I will bring them out. I just got to figure out. I can't mess it up.
Welty, why is this the best Nike SB Dunk of all time?
The shoe's just awesome, man.
A+.
Like, just look at it. It was like, for me, in that era of SB, there was nothing I wanted more than a pair of. I wanted that shoe way more than a pair of Pigeon Dunks. You maybe wanted Pigeon Dunks because you heard the story and you're like, oh, this shoe's worth so much, you need it. But like,
Does Diamond get a little bit more credit because it's more of a skate brand?
maybe.
Because Diamond's an actual skate brand, whereas
Didn't
Staple
factor
is
in
just
for
in
me,
the skate
but
space.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
It just looks
I don't know.
better.
And it didn't overdo it on the theme. Not the Staple did, but sometimes shoes could go too deep on the theme.
The Pigeon is awesome, and just the storytelling of New York City. For me, the Diamond Dunk just looks like a what did Amaya say about Watch It Throwing of Zeus? And,
It was Zeus and Jesus
Jesus.
and put an album together.
just looking at the Diamond Dunk, you're like, wait a minute.
To me, it's just
How is it perfectly executed?
it's the epitome of Nike SB. Just on every single note. And maybe it's because if the Pigeon Dunk was like louder or more garish in some regards,
Yes.
then maybe it would overtake it.
Yeah.
But the Diamond Dunk,
It does better represent that era of brilliantly loud
just like
sneakers.
what the heck?
Yeah, neck breakers.
Like the Pigeons are if you know it's a neck breaker, but that shoe isn't a neck breaker on its own accord.
Right, in a vacuum.
Yeah. That Tiffany Dunk, man. I know,
going.
I know we used to laugh
Just
about
get
it.
emotional. Just
Keep going.
wax
The
poetic.
early, memes. There's like at the undefeated release of the shoe. There's the Tiffany kid,
Tiffany kid,
who
of
showed
course.
up in
Yes,
the
of
head to
course,
toe.
of course.
If you didn't see that picture on Nike Talk back in the day, man.
Before we get out of here, which ones that probably shouldn't be in our top 20 that are in your top 20?
True Reds.
I could keep going. I mean,
Yeah, we don't have to do all of them.
True.
I'm like, I could keep going. He's
That's what
like,
I'm saying.
keep
True
it-
Reds.
True Reds.
Keep it light.
That shoe, when I look at True Red Nike SB Dunks, I know you had got a pair.
Yeah. The noises you're making.
Yeah,
Somebody
chill
has
out.
to do a super cut
Chill out.
of Welty, or we might have to bleep them out. on
Yeah,
YouTube.
for
We
real.
don't want to get flagged.
One for me, Slam City Skates 2005. I love those.
Cool shoe.
I know, okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
Orange Flash SB Dunks. Orange Flash.
Okay.
Sharks. This
Melvins?
This episode is a little painful for me because it is just me thinking about all the ones that I sold that I shouldn't have. Bucks.
Great
Buck
one.
SB Dunk.
Hey, that's
Great one.
one
Film
That's
night.
a great one.
The Oregon
How close
Ducks.
was the Bucks?
A white
No.
and green sneaker.
No,
I've said
wasn't
it
on.
before. I'll say
It's
it
a
again.
great shoe.
I'm going
It's
to be
just
at
like-
an Oregon Ducks game in the future with those on, and also the Pod Air Max 1 chlorophyll. Need those.
And the other one we had a question about were like, do Pro Bs count? And we said no.
No.
No, we left those off. I mean, you would never spend the time to make a best non-dunk SBs of all time. But I think about stuff like milk crates that I really wanted, or just random blazers that I love but people don't care about that.
That's a different list.
I was scrolling down sometimes when we have the comment section on the site. Like, it's usually pretty barren, but sometimes when I see there's a bunch of comments, I'm like, oh no. And I read a couple of them.
Yep.
One of them said, no Gibson guitar case. Yeah, that is not.
See, that's what we're saying. Just because you like that shoe,
Come on,
Has-
Gibson SB Dunks.
That's like saying the Old Spice Dunk should be on the list.
Crazy. Here's another one in the comments. Can't trust a list that doesn't have the Civilist Nike SB Dunk low on.
Who's that? Dave Matthews?
The Civilist SB, like,
That doesn't.
You-
And I had
no,
those.
you
That
can't.
was a pandemic.
you can't call
put
that
him-
one of the best SB Dunks
Dave
of
Matthews.
all time.
Dave
Yeah.
Matthews. We were in a shoot for the pandemic. It was so hot. I forget where. It might have been Carolina.
The shoes were
It was
lighting up.
So hot when we stopped. I think we might have stopped at Chick-fil-A or something. And he's standing there and they're changing colors.
No.
Yes, I think it was actually for
No,
the
just-
vice president. Yes. Like, yes.
Okay, Zoo York is one that people were asking for.
Yes.
I
Also,
don't know how well that shoe held up.
that shoe is great. Zoo York to me is like the real like epitome of like East Coast skateboarding, especially Zoo York Mixtape Volume 1.
Yeah. A brand that got super rinsed, though.
Yeah, but that, and then the other one that's up there too, Chocolate Dunks. Chocolate, one of the best, or at least one of my favorite too, best and one of my favorite skateboarding brands of all time. Just, yeah, it's just tough because I feel like that shoe, it's a grail to people, but it just doesn't mean as much.
Yeah. I'll say Sea Crystal Dunks.
Like those. a
I
lot.
wanted Sea Crystal so
those.
bad. And I recently learned that's the only SB Dunk colorway that Sandy Bodecker himself actually colored up.
Love
Cool
those.
piece of history there. I think that could have made the list. I really think that Reese Forbes denim is the one that I was like, am I? What? Why? How? And that's not even a personal pick type thing. Like,
What would you take?
Flash Dunks, I know is a personal
What would
pick.
you? What would you? If you could take a shoe off the list to put that one in?
I guess Hunters.
Yeah.
And also, I want to take it back to a question. I was asking earlier, $1,500 for any shoe, or even more specifically, any SB Dunk. You wouldn't pay $1,500 for a pair of crispy DS Diamond Dunks Tiffany's
Yes,
right
you
now
would.
in your size?
Are you silly?
I guess
You would. Not to resell. You're not allowed to resell
I
them.
guess.
But
Yes,
you could
you
put them
would.
on your
I
feet.
guess. Yeah.
You
I'd
would.
give you a little too.
You're gonna chip in. We're gonna do a
Yeah.
GoFundMe.
Oh wow.
Whew.
Got through it. History.
Stand by it.
Do stand by it.
Can I say one thing about my shoes before we go?
Oh, we were all waiting.
Welty,
What?
these are a size 10.
They fit.
They're like a little snug on me.
Oh, maybe.
So
Maybe Nike shoes used to fit small.
should we go back up to 10 and a half?
No.
Listen, discuss that in the Philippines. You guys got a lot of time together. And let me report back.
It's gonna be a long flight. We'll be on Slack.
All right, everyone. We hope you like this list. Comment what you think we got right, what you think we got wrong, your personal top 10. And yeah, another list that I feel like we really educated and went down memory lane for me. What an era. What a bunch of errors. All right, everyone. This has been the Complex Sneaker Show. We hope everyone has a great weekend. Please like, subscribe. Safe travels, guys.
Thank you.
We'll see you in a couple weeks.